What's up, spectators? Welcome back to another episode of the Great Ace Attorney. I apologize for no video yesterday, but if you missed my post, it was because I have friends who have flown into the city. They're actually borrowing my controllers right now, which is inconvenient because now I'm having to use a mouse. So you're going to see my mouse on screen a little bit, and you're going to see me trying to follow these keyboard, controls. Anyways, let's get to it. A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly. And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused. This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now, is she really going to get away with it? The way she destroyed that evidence was obscene. Ryunosuke. We've come this far, but now, you're the only one who can finish it. What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there are any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head. In my head? Opens his head. You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend on. That's true, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt. Every color, every smell. What I saw, what I felt. Every color. This is how he remembers it, black and white. He just smells steak. Is Kojima right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of the same scene in my head, could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? I mean, I guess. Actually, Kojima, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. You always have something up your sleeve, don't you? We as the audience have no idea. We only met him a few videos ago. Come on then, let's wipe the smug smile off that English woman's face with some evidence. Alright, I can't wait. It's been niggling me? What is a niggling me? Okay, it's been niggling me for a while that something feels amiss in my memories of that day. Whatever it is could be the key to arriving at the truth about all this. It's here somewhere! Something that's slightly different! And then R to present. Take that! Inspector, answer me this. What? He's still miles away, probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak that you took to the victim's table that day. Objection! Wait a minute. Where are you going with this? Where are you going with this, little boy? It's just a memory that's been troubling me. What memory? I saw the scene shown in this photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw that on the wooden base of the plate that the steak was served on was a spattering of blood. Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, There's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter. Which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor, as you were. Shiseo Brett. I beg your pardon?
Objection!
This is beyond ridiculous. Fabricated nonsense. Is the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered seeing?
Hold it!
This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to. You mean... Yes, I took the plate, in the interests of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all, and I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it. I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the sergeant had been eating. And I did it all in the name of justice. It's still just rotting away in this fridge. Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it. Inspector! The court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir. I just have to go home first. Oh, it was right here in my pocket. Sorry for the delay. Here's what you ordered. The steak. What about the blood? Is there blood on it? Of course there isn't. Oh, quickly, Inspector. The blood man. Show the court. Of course. Examine the plate at your leisure. No blood. No blood anywhere. But no, that's impossible! I know I saw it. I'm sure of it. It was right there on the table behind the professor. There was blood on the side of the plate. What an unbecoming expression, little boy. You see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you. She always says that? I couldn't agree more, in the case of this disgrace to the Empire. I believe we may finally have reached a conclusion in this trial. Let's hope so. This let's pretend attempt at courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. But I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. This sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest. The plate of steak has been entered into the court record. Was the plate I saw, or thought I saw, just a figment of my imagination? This is it now. I've lost. It's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward no matter what. Believe in myself. Really? That's just stupid advice? Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objection? That bloodstain was going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues? Your Excellency, please wait. This plate of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue that will reveal the shocking truth.
Objection!
The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beefsteak. Your Excellency, I think I've made it myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial. I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence, which you're free to destroy at whenever you'd like. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled. I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it? Thank you, Your Excellency. Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show the court to what you are alluding. Where precisely on this plate of beefsteak is this new clue to be found? Can I turn it? Or... oh, yes, I can. Okay. See, what I think is going on is this. It's turned around. This emblem on the side of the plate. Is it a cat? It's a cow. Obviously. Most likely because the restaurant's signature dish is beefsteak. It seems a lot of different restaurants have their own unique tableware. So this is the symbol of Le Carnival, is it? Well, that's not what I'm trying to show. I'm trying to show that it's in between. Okay, whoops, we gotta skip through that. Alright, let's try clicking the other side then. I can't find anything out of place. What in the world is this? I think it's a Koban coin, and the hallmark is from the Hoei era, I believe. No, I don't mean what is it. I mean, what's it doing there? Wait, did you say it was a Hoei Koban? Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. This isn't the first time today that there's been talk of a Hoei Koban. I've heard of pearls before swine, but I've never heard of bouillon in a bouillon. And I don't think you ever will again. This is extraordinary, though. This means that this is the other person's steak. And we shall present... Good gracious, that's... a Koban? What on earth? A Hoei era one, at that. Miss Brett. This is in fact the beefsteak that you ordered at the restaurant on the day in question, is it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat? What a ridiculous question. How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what this is, but I want no part of it.
Objection!
I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin under the meat? That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction.
Objection!
Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen? A rare Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to the Great Britain right now. He's right. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency. Yes, Counsel. A rare Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now.
Objection!
By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway.
Shut up!
Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who's irrelevant, even though I'm the one on trial here. The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what it's doing under that steak. The owner? Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban that was found underneath the beefsteak is... Can I use WASD? Oh, yeah, I can. Then can I also use Enter? No, let's use R. Ba-da-dum-bum-bum. Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer and owner of Rasute Curio Korakuta. As in Mr. Cucumber something. Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened. At exactly the moment the gun was fired. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Indeed, the Hoei era Koban, my prized coin. Then this Hoei-era Koban, do you mean to tell me...
Attention!
No. Please, why would Korakuta's Koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its plate? It makes no sense.
Yes!
Which is why I'm asking to bring Korakuta back to the witness stand, so we can ask him. Officer, bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay. I can't believe we've come back round to that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find that it's a key element in the case. Ooh, 4 people on the stand. What's this all about? Why have I been called up again? Don't you realize that it's dinner time for little baby Ido? When my son's belly is empty, he's fiercer than a pack of wolves. Exploited by the police we were, like miserable dogs, forced to bear false witness. And when cast from this courtroom myself, I became a ruined man in a trice, a worthless, withered antique. Nothing more have I to say. The sun has set on this Rasute shop owner's existence. Be that as it may, Korakuta, something has come to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Rasute memory serves, have you ever... Yes, that's it! The one, the very exact one that is. The resplendent, splendiferous Hoei treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day. It can't be. As I thought. Young man. Enlighten this decrepit old fool, put me out of my misery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped? Oh, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beefsteak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat's juices. Why would he say it like that? Sandwiched? Soaking? Seriously? Clearly it couldn't have fallen there by accident. Which means... somebody must have hidden it there on purpose. Somebody concealed my Hoei treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate. Who would do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing. Excuse me. Could I say something? Yes, of course. Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I mentioned this earlier on in the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case. That's right, the secret undercover operation. Le Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected. So that's why you were sent in undercover. Yes, I took on the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. So, unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. The place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Korakuta-san's Koban is all too clear. I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Who is the despicable scoundrel that stole Korakuta-san's Koban and hid it under the steak? I mean, that does seem obvious.
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant Ayesa Nosa. What? How dare you, you monster. I stole that koban, did I? I'm the master thief of La Carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet. But it wasn't me. It was Ido. Ido's the mastermind behind it all. You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son, an innocent little baby. It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa. You. No, you. Clippity-clop? Well, he's clippity-clopping. Never a good sign. Oh. Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Ayesa Nosa preparing to stand down in the Supreme Court. That's a smart little baby. To know hand signals synchronized to that degree. Do any of you know of the extraordinarily low wages that the Nippon Imperial Army pays those it expects to keep our country safe? I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place. And I have heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living. Yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son. That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant. The place is heaving with money. Every 3 days I'd go there and do reconnaissance for a target. And I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak at the same time. It sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork even, which is worryingly believable. And your target that day was the old man and his koban. Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all. A veritable phantom thief you are. I was all set to leave the steak I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Yes, when the professor was shot. I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. Ido too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could, on the double. I slipped it under the steak, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date. This is ridiculous. Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time. Well, Miss Brett? Of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May the esteemed gentlewoman please be excused, Your Excellency. Indeed. The theft of the koban was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled sergeant. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder. Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat. The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Nonsense, is it? Well, oof. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Very well. Now that all questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave. Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone. And good day. Ryunosuke, what's the matter with you? This is no time for daydreaming. Oh, no, it's just... something about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. I can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. I feel like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up. If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard. You can think later, but if you don't call out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over.
Hold it!
Wait, Miss Brett. What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time, there's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just a few moments ago. What are you talking about? What contradiction?
Objection!
What new student nonsense is this? What parting words are you talking about? Hiding a coin under a lump of meat. The sheer nonsense of such an idea. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense, pure madness. I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. I'm going to need to see evidence, counsel. If Miss Brett's words truly are contradictory, where is the evidence to prove it? I mean, I don't know why we're having to go so far for this, but it's obvious it's not her steak. Oh, no, back up.
Take that!
The steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed. Yes, go on. More accurately, Your Excellency. The steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed. Now you're just splitting hairs. Not true. Doesn't something about this steak strike you as very unnatural? What on earth do you mean? It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett. Noticed what exactly, counsel? Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could even contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork. Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself. Then take a good look at this steak, in particular, the edge where it's been eaten. As you can see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there. It looks like Miss Brett has realized something. So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all.
Objection!
What is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry and couldn't help herself. Oh, whatever you say, dear lady. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer. Of course, of course! There will be all over in the blink of an eye. This will. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. Just leave everything. I've heard enough. You irritating little spectacled samurai relic. Of course, dear lady. What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers? Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She's realized the catastrophic implications these teeth marks in the steak have for her. Ryunosuke, do you know where you're going with this? Yes. Now at last it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in a steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the bloodstain I saw somehow seems to have disappeared. And most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day. I accept that these teeth marks in the steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us? Everything, Your Excellency. Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson. Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase. Typical Japanese empty threats. How can you be so sure? Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago. Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet. Hasn't been. But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist.
Objection!
This is absurd. The trial has run several hours already, and you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward. There can't be. I don't believe you have it.
Objection!
I don't. But there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person's willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case. Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. Who possesses the conclusive evidence that we will reveal the truth about the whole affair? It is the inspector, because he has all the plates. So we need him to present the other one. The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga. I have it. Yes. You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's ridiculous. No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention's been focused on the stake with the teeth marks. Yes? Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak. And as well as admitting to stealing Korakuta-san's coin, he told us that he slipped it under the steak. You watch it, cadet. I'm a superior officer. Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the steak that you put the coin under, in fact, your own steak? Attention! Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentle lady if she'd mind me manhandling her meal to hide something in it. In other words, the steak that the detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal.
Objection!
But that makes no sense. That plate was taken from the victim's table.
Objection!
Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal the coin. Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire. Well then, how do you explain this paradox? Exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest that the sergeant switched the two steaks. You did switch the plates. Well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my steak and hid the coin underneath it. But even when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I'd had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. Why does he have a balloon sound? With military precision and timing, I switched my steak with the one on the foreign lady's table. You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing. It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what had to be done. Unbelievable! However, fear not, prosecutor. I swear on the brass buttons of my uniform, that is all I did. All you did? That's plenty, Sergeant.
Yes!
So if Sergeant Nosa switched the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak and the plate it was on back to his own table. That follows. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's. That to preserve evidence, you had taken both. That's correct. Then please present it to the court now. Like, what are you waiting for? The plate, yes. Well, they make us say all these unnecessary things. It's actually on the victim's table at the present moment he was shot.
Shut up!
What can that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat. It can't have the slightest bearing on the case.
Objection!
No, you're not wriggling your way out of this time, lady. I beg your pardon? Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why the steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you, no? You're the one who's decided it was a problem, not me. The reason the defense asked to see the plate was to confirm something that the defendant remembers seeing. Things he remembers. I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. On the side of the plate that was on the table directly behind Dr. Wilson. There's no need for this recap, though, because we just saw it a moment ago. A clear spattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. And now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate you were eating from Miss Brett. Let's not prolong this any further, Inspector. Show us! Present the beefsteak and the plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident. Yes, sir. His time to shine. Sorry for keeping you. Here's the other steak and its plate. Please feel free to examine it. The blood stain. It's clearly visible. Look.
Yes!
Now, this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that at the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo to have shot the victim. It can't be. In fact, there's only one person who could possibly have shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. That's right, Miss Giselle Brett. It's you! He really winds up for that. Outdone by a Japanese? Me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No, no, no. Ooh. She's escaping! Oh, look at the little babies. Oh, they're so small and fat. Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me. Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth this time. Gladly, Your Excellency. I guess I could tell the truth. I believe we're about to get... Oh, maybe not new testimony yet. It was I who took the professor's life, using karate. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor's had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning. So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water. Because curare is unheard of here in Japan. Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor to take one tiny sip of his water, and it would all be over. I'd place the steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he had been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table. That would be me, I suppose. Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you decided to come over to greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point, so I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment. A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man. I happened to know that the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of curare in my handbag, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt. Under your skirt? So I was right. There were 2 guns. Yes. And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. Placed where you were sure that I wouldn't notice it. And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I'd intended. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up, that's when you shot the professor with your own gun, even though at that point he was already dead. Naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared. Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside. That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor and his chair around. Because, of course, you needed to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he'd picked up the gun. So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Your Excellency? Yes? I wonder. Might I speak with you in private later? I shall call on you. Thank you. Good day then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo. This is a very unusual way for this to seemingly end. It's like, okay, are we done? It would seem this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement? You know what? It seems we're at the very end here, but since we're already at the 43-minute mark, and just in case if there's like a lot of juicy details post-trial, I'm gonna save that for the next one. So, stay tuned for the next episode, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye!